walked. There was something deeper guiding him, something unseen, something divine. Jacob was not just wandering, he was being led a journey into the unknown. The sun beat down on Jacob's back. He pressed forward. Days had passed, and the journey had not been easy. The land was vast, and the silence of travel often left him alone with his thoughts. Thoughts of what he had done, thoughts of what he had lost, but also thoughts of what might still be ahead. Then, one day, as his feet carried him over a rise, he saw it, a well in a field. It was a simple sight, yet it felt like more than coincidence, a well-meant life, a well-meant people, a well-meant connection. As he drew closer, he noticed flocks of sheep lying around it and shepherds gathered nearby. They seemed relaxed, waiting almost as if time itself had paused. Jacob approached them. Brothers, he said, where are you from? We are from Haran, they replied. Haran, the name struck him up in a spark. This was it. This was where his family lived. Hope rose within him. Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? Jacob asked quickly. Yes, we know him, they said. And is he well? He's well, they answered. And look, here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep. The moment everything changed, Jacob turned, and there she was, Rachel, walking toward the well, leading her father's flock with quiet confidence. There are moments in life that divide everything into before and after. This was one of them. Jacob felt something stir inside him, something powerful, something immediate. Without hesitation, he stepped forward. The shepherds had been waiting for all the flocks to gather before rolling away the stone that covered the well. It was large, heavy enough that it usually required several men, but Jacob didn't wait. Driven by something deeper than strength, he walked up to the well, grasped the stone, and rolled it away by himself. Then he watered Rachel's sheep. It was a simple act, yet filled with meaning. It was service, it was strength, it was love. Even before love had been spoken, afterward, overwhelmed by emotion, Jacob approached Rachel. He kissed her and began to weep, not out of sadness, but out of relief, or of joy, out of the realization that, after all his wandering, he had found something, someone that felt like home. Your father's relative, he told her. I am Rebekah's son. Rachel ran to tell her father. A new beginning. When Laban heard the news, he ran to meet Jacob. He embraced him, kissed him, and welcomed him into his home for the first time in a long while. Jacob wasn't alone. He stayed with Laban for a month, working and helping as part of the household. But Laban was not a man who let things remain undefined for long. Just because you are my relative, Laban said one day, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be? It was a fair question, but Jacob already knew his answer. Love worth waiting for. Laban had two daughters. Leah, the older, had gentle eyes. There was a quietness about her, a softness that often went unnoticed. Rachel, the younger, was beautiful in form and appearance. She carried a presence that drew attention effortlessly. Jacob loved Rachel casually, not temporarily, deeply. So when Laban asked him about his wages, Jacob made an offer that would define his life for years to come. I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. 7 years. It was not a small request. It was a commitment of time, effort, and endurance. But Jacob didn't hesitate, because when something truly matters to you, the course becomes secondary. Laban agreed, and so Jacob began his service. When love changes, time, days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, months turned into years. Jacob worked faithfully, tending flocks, enduring heat, facing challenges. But something extraordinary happened. The 7 years felt like only a few days. Why? Because of his love for Rachel. Love has a way of reshaping how we experience time. What feels unbearable without purpose becomes light when driven by passion. What feels endless without hope becomes fleeting when filled with meaning. Jacob wasn't counting the days, he was living them, and every step brought him closer to Rachel. The day of fulfillment finally. The time came. 7 years had passed. Jacob went to Laban and said, give me my wife, for my time is completed. Laban gathered the people of the place and prepared a great feast. There was celebration, laughter, and joy. Everything seemed perfect, everything seemed right. But sometimes what looks right on the outside hides something else beneath. A night of deception. That night, under the cover of darkness, Laban carried out a plan. Instead of giving Rachel to Jacob, he gave Leah. Jacob unaware, took her as his wife. The celebration continued. The night passed and morning came. The shocking truth. When Jacob woke and saw Leah, everything changed. The realization hit him like a wave. This was not Rachel. This was not the woman he had worked 7 years for. Confusion turned into anger, turned into confrontation. Went to Laban. "What is this you have done to me?" he demanded. "Did I not serve you for Rachel? Why have you deceived me?" It was a painful question, because Jacob himself knew what deception felt like from the other side. Laban responded calmly, almost dismissively, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter before the older." Then he made another offer. "Finish this week with Leah, and we will give you Rachel, also in return for another 7 years of service." The cycle of consequences in that moment. Jacob faced a choice. He could walk away, he could refuse, he could let anger define his next step. But he didn't, because his love for Rachel remained unchanged. He agreed another 7 years. 14 years in total, for love, for commitment, for something he believed was worth it. And so, after the bridal week with Leah, Laban gave Rachel to Jacob as well. A complicated household. Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, and that difference did not go unnoticed. Leah lived in the shadow of her sister, married, yet not fully loved, seen, yet not chosen. But God saw her, and in his compassion, he opened her womb. Leah began to bear children. Her first son she named Reuben, saying, "The Lord has seen my misery, surely my husband will love me now." Then came Simeon, "Because the Lord heard that I am not loved." Then Levi, "Now my husband will become attached to me." And finally Judah. This time, oh praise the Lord, with each child. Leah hoped for love with each child. She expressed both pain and faith lessons. Hidden in the story, Jacob's story is more than history, it is reflection. He who once deceived his father and brother was now experiencing deception. Himself, he who once took what was not his was now having something taken from him. Life has a way of teaching lessons, not always gently, but always meaningfully. Yet even in all of this, God was working through the waiting, through the disappointment, through the unexpected turns. Jacob's story was not falling apart, it was being shaped. And now think about this. Jacob worked 14 years for what he loved. He endured deception, delay, and difficulty, but he didn't give up. So here's the question for you. What is something in your life that feels like it's taking too long but might actually be shaping you for something greater? If you were Jacob, would you have stayed after the betrayal, or would you have walked away? Drop your answer in the comment section. Your story, your perspective, your voice. It might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.